Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. So let's start by singing the national anthem of Malaysia. I appreciate if you could stand up. Thank you. Thank you very much. We may sit. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahilladzi hadana lihaza wa ma kunna linahtadiya laula an hadana Allah. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Syamsul Bahri Tamrin, Pengarah, the Director, Center of Industrial Relation and Networks, Sernet UPM, Profesor Madya Dr. Muhammad Zariad Abdul Rani, Director of Center for Academic Development and Leadership Excellence, CADe-Lead UPM, our distinguished guests, Datuk Muhammad Azmi Zulkifli, the Chief Executive Officer of Invest KL Malaysia, respective guests, UPM, staffs, students, and fellow audiences. First of all, let us praise due to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for His blessings and mercy. We were able to gather here today for an exciting event. So this is basically our first event catering on a very informal and relaxed session. We call it CADe-Lead Cafe. So this program is co-hosted by two agencies in UPM, CERNET UPM and CADe-Lead UPM. Alhamdulillah, we are honored to have our guest of honor today, Datuk Muhammad Azmi Zulkifli, to share some insights and his experiences on higher institution leaders. The title is on roles in shaping and preparing the future workforce. Alright, so without further ado, I would like first to share with all of you the agenda for today's sharing session. So we will be listening to the address from the director of CADe-Lead, and then we will share a bit of biography of Datuk Muhammad Azmi, and then we will allowing the process of presenting contents and deliver Datuk speech after that, and perhaps we will open up to Q&A session, inshallah. Okay, so let's proceed. I would like to call upon the Director of Center for Academic Development and Leadership Excellence, CADe-Lead UPM, to deliver his speech. Dr. Muhammad Zarek, the floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang kita alukan yang berbahagia Datuk Muhammad Azmi Zulkifli, Ketua Eksekutif, Pegawai Ketua Eksekutif Invest KL Malaysia, Profesor Samsul Bahri Tamrin, Pengarah I have the English text here, Center for Industrial Relation and Network, CERNET UPM, and also my Deputy Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Kaizi, the Deputy for Center for Academic Development and Academic Excellence, Universiti Putra Malaysia, para pegawai utama, para pelajar yang dikasihi, selamat datang dan ke acara kita pada hari ini, iaitu CADe-Lead Cafe. Welcome. First of all, I would like to welcome everyone to the CADe-Lead Cafe. It is one of the programs that we have scheduled for Center for Academic Excellence and Leadership Excellence. And our program today is co-organized, as mentioned by Dr. Kaizi just now, with the Center for Industrial Relations and Network, CERNET UPM. Thank you, CERNET, for the cooperations. Today, as we know that we are going to engage with a very significant topic, especially in the current situation where the advanced technology has largely replaced the human workforce. This, the one that we normally known as the IR, or the Industrial Revolution 4.0, has taken so much significantly place in the workforce, and therefore I would like to thank Yang Berbahagia Datuk Muhammad Azmi Zulkifli for taking his time to share with us his knowledge, experience and wisdom. My deepest apologies for not being able to avail myself to join the occasion until the end, as me and also Prof. Samsul, we have to attend a workshop which has been scheduled for the whole day today. However, I understand that our event today is recorded and can always be viewed in the YouTube channel, so I will certainly take my time to view it tonight. I believe this talk will be a valuable and informative experience for all of us, so let us make the most of it, and I wish you all the best. Thank you very much, and thank you very much, Dato, for your willingness. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad Zariat, for your sweet speech, sweet and concise speech. Alright, so allow me to read a short biography about Datuk Muhammad Azmi Zulkifli. Datuk Muhammad Azmi Zulkifli is the Chief Executive Officer of Invest KL. In his current role as Chief Executive Officer, he leads the teams to identify, facilitate, and develop solutions for MNCs. MNCs stand for multinational corporations to locate their high-value regional hubs in Greater Kuala Lumpur and Malaysia. The focus sectors include oil and gas, healthcare. FMCG stands for fast-moving consumer goods, businesses, and financial services. To date, the Invest KL team led by Datuk Muhammad Azmi has successfully brought in more than 130 MNCs to set up regional headquarters or hubs within Greater Kuala Lumpur. He joined Invest KL in 2012 as Director of Investor Relations for Europe. Prior to Invest KL, he has over 16 years of experience in leadership and management positions, spanning commercial business, business transformation, and operations with MISC Berhad, a subsidiary of Petronas. He participated in MISC's business transformation initiatives and was part of a leadership team to re-engineer, develop, and commission a global ICT system throughout MIC offices globally. Datuk Muhammad Azmi holds a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, Marketing from the UNL, University of Nebraska-Lincoln, United States of America. He has attended Petronas management training programs as well as participated in several executive management programs under Harvard Business School and Dale Carnegie training. Alright, so we had spotted the right person to talk about roles in shaping and preparing the future workforce, looking at the lens of higher institution leaders' perspective. So without further ado, let's bring Dato over to the stage, and the floor is yours, Dato. Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi dan salam sejahtera. Profesor Madya Dr. Muhammad Zariat Abdul Rani, Director Center for Academic Development and Leadership Excellence, CADe. Professor Dr. Syamsul Bahari Haji Muhammad Tamrin from CERNET. The lecturers and professors who are here today and also online. Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, I must say that this is my first time speaking to this audience of a highest caliber. Tenaga-tenaga pengajar dari UPM yang telah banyak membantu kepada pembangunan modal insan di Malaysia dan juga di dunia. Jadi saya merasa sangat kerdil dengan ilmu yang saya ada. Tetapi today my objective and intention is to share, hoping to be a catalyst, hoping to provoke, and hoping to reimagine what multinational companies are looking at, are looking for, and probably those adaptations could be done when you are lecturing to your students and running your classes in due respect. Same time, if there are burning questions, please put up your hand to clarify, or keep the questions at the end, and I hope to be able to address that at the end of the presentation. I must also say this is my first time on campus in UPM. My only sight of UPM is when I take the express rail link and it passes the campus. Cantik campus ni, tapi tak pernah ada rezeki untuk singgah kan. Jadi insyaAllah we hope this can be the first of many, and I'm happy to hear that my team have been engaging the different faculties in UPM with very targeted programs by the respective MNCs depending on their needs. So that's the kind of thing that we like to do, very targeted, focused, so that we can shape and produce the right talent to move forward. Alright, so this is a slides that we have prepared, and I must thank my team from InvestKL, Puan Yogis, Shafira dan Rafiq, who are here today, very dedicated, very hardworking, to also give a perspective of a background of who we are, what we do, and at the same time share a little bit of case study, what multinational companies are doing here today, what have been the big ticket items or numbers to share, and also some of the depth of their activities in that perspective. Alright, so I didn't know my profile will be read, but this is a quick glance of my profile. This would be some of the activities that I am focused on as well, apart from my day job. Steering committee with MITI ESG initiative. I am also a board member of the Malaysia-German Chamber of Commerce and Industry, MGCC, who has the highest membership in terms of all the foreign chambers in Malaysia. Outsourcing Malaysia ataupun Global Business Services Malaysia under PCOM, an advisor there, and also working with either Dewan Bandar Kuala Lumpur ataupun Perbadanan Putrajaya to look at how we can rejuvenate businesses activities in both localities. With that as well, some of the past as well, and a number of TV appearances whenever required. Alright, so this is a very important slide that I wanted to start with. Okay, so I will step out from this rostrum macam ada barrier sikit. Alright, this is a very important slide, so that let me go give a bit more specifics of what we do. InvestKL is an agency, investment promotion agency under the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, MITI. Yeah? So I report directly to KSU and Menteri Datuk Sri Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz. Okay, so in a track, all right. Now the fundamentals are, back in 2011, Malaysia had that realization that we have grown to a certain level. However, we are still capped by the middle income trap, where we cannot break the income or the per capita by household to allow us to become a developed nation. During that time, it was Vision 2020 lah, yeah, to be a developed nation by the year 2020. Now, how do we go about breaking the middle income trap? We need to create high value jobs. Yeah, we need to create high value jobs. Now, and that's where it brings to the idea that we need to demarcate Greater Kuala Lumpur. as a region, and most importantly, in my terms, Greater Kuala Lumpur is a product. Is a product, right? Greater Kuala Lumpur comprised of 2,800 square kilometers, 10 municipalities, DBKL, MPSJ, MBSA, Serdang dan sebagainya. Ya, 10 municipalities. Maksudnya part of Selangor as well lah. Yeah? So that's the area, right? Now, why is this important? Because we want to position Greater KL as a regional hub. Who are the players of regional hubs in this region? Our neighbor down south and a neighbor up north, Singapore dan Hong Kong, right? Now, Singapore, Greater Kuala Lumpur is 4 times larger than Singapore from a land perspective. Yeah? With Greater London, we are 1.5 times larger. Actual London is small, kan? This is the best location in Malaysia that has everything. Infrastructure, connectivity, broadband, people, academia, industry, and the list goes on. Panjang. The list goes long and long and long, right? Right? Which is also means we have this piece of land, we need to attract the right investments. Yeah? We wouldn't want to attract investment that is building a 100-acre factory. Yeah? It can spill over into neighboring states, supaya it becomes an inclusive development, right? I will touch a little bit on some of the investments that have spilled over to other states, Negeri Sembilan, Melaka, Johor, Sabah dan sebagainya, right? But that's the intent, to attract these regional hubs among the companies from Fortune Forbes list. Yeah, Fortune Forbes list, all right? And this is talking about regional hubs or global hubs. Yeah? When we talk about global hubs, these are usually regional headquarters, centers of excellence, training academies for the region, global business services. So some kind of that structure will be part of what they wanted to look at when they set up in Greater Kuala Lumpur. And largely will be the services sector, right? The services sector. Again, this is also a realization that if we look at or we aspire to be a developed nation, what would be a predominant sector? The services sector. I'm not saying industrial sector is not important. I'm not saying manufacturing is not important. Equally important. But we must remember, maybe my statistics is a bit outdated, we have about 350,000 graduates a year. Where are they going to find a job? They need to enter the services sector, right? The services sector. And I will touch the definition of services sector in a little bit. So it's very important. Today, I would dare to say that if I have a group of people, I would ask them, do you know anyone today, your family, neighbor, friends, anak saudara ke apa, that works in a factory? Susah nak jumpa. Susah nak jumpa. Because of many things, yeah? Because of perception and so on, right? And that's where the emphasis to create high value jobs, right? Services. We are all in this room working in the services sector. Yeah, working in the services sector. Alright? So, over time, we have also expanded our focus to look at unicorns, to look at queen bees, to look at hidden champions, right? Those kind of companies. I'm sure you've heard about the word hidden champion, right? In Germany it's called Mittelstands. In Japan it's called something else, I cannot remember. But these are also some of the other areas which produces a lot of good technology innovation that can be integrated into the whole ecosystem. So that's the story of Greater Kuala Lumpur. Now, it's not just about bringing in investments. It's also to look at the broader topics that are also in line with what we wanted to do. Main topic is creating quality investments and creating high value jobs. Yeah, and along the line as well, there will be other attributes. Talent would be there, infrastructure, industry, academia. Some investments require incentives, some does not, and things like that. So it's all part of it, of the whole story. And certainly the latest topics that have come to the table are topics on ESG, yeah, on ESG. All right. Now, going back to our activities, our main KPI is to bring in an investment, primary KPI. Secondary KPI is to create high value jobs, meaning to create jobs that are more than 5,000 ringgit monthly salary, more than 5,000 ringgit. Are there jobs created below 5,000? Yes. You need to start somewhere, right? But over time, they have also gone up the value chain as fresh graduates join, they get more experience and they go up the value chain, all right, in terms of these activities. So those are the two primary KPIs that we focus on and some of the activities that we do. Now, this is our report card. Yeah, report card since 2011, which we report to our stakeholders, MITI being the main one. All right. So I like to touch a little bit on some of the numbers. As I mentioned, our target is to achieve 35 billion ringgit investment by the year 2030. So since 2011 and up till June of 2023, we have brought in 23.5 billion committed investments. Committed investments. Okay? Committed investment means we discuss with the company and this company say, yes, we want to do this in Greater Kuala Lumpur with the relevant information, investments, jobs dan sebagainya. Okay? Committed investments. I'll touch on the realized later. Now, executive jobs, 26,000 committed jobs. Yeah, 26,000 committed jobs. There are more than 5,000 ringgit initial target monthly salary, right? Now, Alhamdulillah, the realized has been very strong, very strong. Yeah, very strong. 85 to 90%. The figures have gone up because of the January to June investments that would come in, that would add to the numbers, right? So these are the realized jobs. And most importantly, 18,900 jobs have been realized on payroll. Yeah, on payroll. Okay. Before maybe there will be a question later. Out of these 18,000 jobs, 90% of the jobs are held by Malaysians. Held by Malaysians, right? And this is a behavior of MNC yang kadang-kadangnya misperception. They come in, they create jobs, tapi dia bawa orang dia berduyun-duyun dan sebagainya, taking jobs from Malaysians. Tidak. Their focus is to localize the jobs, right? Let's take our companies, our local MNCs, Petronas ke, Saimdabi ke, siapa-siapa, right? Let's say they want to open up a subsidiary in London. What do? The first 2-3 years, maybe dia orang hantar 30 orang Malaysia. After 2-3 years, they will scale down. Maybe they will left by about 2 or 3 Malaysians who are posted overseas. So that's a behavior of an MNC whenever they go overseas. No different from these people over here, right? But what I'm also happy about is they focus a lot on talent development. Yeah, in talent development, which I will share a little bit more in detail later. So these are the numbers: 132 multinationals. Personal income tax, which is the investment that's been created. Little bit on this Greater Kuala Lumpur Life Lab. This is a program under the 12 Malaysia Plan. Yeah, our interest is very simple, or our principle is very simple. When we bring in an investment, we want to increase the footprint in the country. If a company comes with one activity, what's the likelihood of them staying? Very low lah. What's the risk of them leaving? Very high. So we want to increase their footprint in the country, right? They will start the first year with doing something. Next year they will have to do something else and more and more and more to increase their footprint in the country. When the footprint is bigger in a country, what's the likelihood of them leaving? Low. What's the likelihood of them increasing investment? Higher. So that's the intent. And this is part of the 12 Malaysia plan, where we put in a grant for companies to work on R&D, innovation, or adaptation of products or services. But they must partner a university, they must partner a local SME. Yeah, those are two main conditions for them to be able to qualify for this grant. Some of the other information would be on our website. But there are some good recipients here, and we are proud to have many of them continue to be interested. Okay, so those are some of the big numbers. Any questions so far? Okay, now where are these MNCs coming from? Yeah, 25% are from the Americas region. Sebenarnya US lah, yeah, Americas region. 45% are from Europe, and these 45% are from Europe are from the big five largest economies: UK, France, Germany, Switzerland, Netherlands. Right? The others are all there: Nordic, Italy, and so on. They are all there as well. Right? So these are 45% are from there, and the rest are from Asia, Oceania, largely from China and Japan. Yeah, largely from China and Japan. Right? So that's little bit of the demographics of where these investments are from. Okay, so these are the MNCs who have their regional hubs here in Greater Kuala Lumpur. Now, maybe 50% of them are brands that have never been heard before. Yeah, because they are B2B. They are in the business of business to business, right? A number of them are of course B2C, which is a lot more visible, client facing, customer facing, right? Many of these B2Bs are also companies who are behind many of the large organizations. Yeah, many of the giant organizations, these are the guys behind them, in a sense that they are the technology provider, systems provider, dan sebagainya. So it enhances the whole ecosystem, and it's important that we continue to push and develop some of the ecosystem. I can recall that a number of this, at least 3 or 4 of these MNCs have been on campus here in UPM with the engineering faculty, is it? Engineering and School of Business. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Okay, alright, so tak payah jual lagi lah. Right, so a lot of substance are inside here, right? I will go through some of the details later. Okay, so these are the MNCs. Some are usual suspects, some that we have not seen before. Okay, now on a yearly basis, it's important for us to communicate these activities. We do our annual announcements on our results. Last year, Alhamdulillah, we did 2.79 billion ringgit in investment. Yeah, 2.79 billion ringgit. If people ask me, how was COVID? It must be a disaster. Sebenarnya that was the best times. That was the best times in investment, right? Kan? Pelik, memang pelik. But open the newspapers, magazines, every company reports record profit. Of course we are not lah. We are cost center and agency and the ministry. Yeah. Tetapi every company reported record profits. You know, record profits, products, services, kan? It just boom, right? And same goes here, right? Same goes here. Some of the variables why it was the best 2 years, 2021, 2022. Many of this investment does not require them to come in, look at the land, and build an infrastructure, because that would take 18 to 36 months, right? They can just go into any building and start running the regional hubs. Yeah, it's as simple as that. And most importantly juga, masa during that time, they don't have to be physical pun. Half of the people they hire are hybrid, kan? Never seen the office pun, right? Never seen the office, right? So we hosted a number of MNCs with the bubble, the travel bubble during that times, kan? Memang best lah. You travel without traffic, police escort, kan? Best betul KL kan? So but they could see it in real circumstances of how it is, right? I can share a personal story. One MNC, they were building their regional hub and they were expanding. they needed to look for another 50 people, bukan people buat transaction, people in actuarial science. People in actuarial science, right? So they run their advertisements and so on and so on. They run all the interviews online. Some interviewers are in US and so on and so on, right? Kan? Lepas tu they hire someone, right? The company is so impressed that upon hiring someone, they could use Grab to send a computer to the person, and the person can just take that computer and start operating, yeah, running the activity, right? They say if that's done in US, that computer will never reach the person. Right? So they were super impressed. They were super impressed of the efficiency of how civilized we are, kan? So that gave him a lot more confidence to do a lot more activities. Okay? All right. This year specifically, some of the launches that have been performed. To name a few, Cognizant, US company in technology and so on. Very visible today as they are also part of the Aston Martin Formula One team. Yeah, so driver Fernando Alonso and one more, can't remember. Right? So Cognizant launched with Minister. That was in April. Then we've got the London Stock Exchange Group, LSEG, launching their Centre of Excellence by the High Commissioner from Britain. The MAN, Global Technology and Innovation Hub, launched by then KSU, Datuk Sri Isham, that was recently. Zimmer Biomed, a medical company, I don't know how to describe this, you know better. The joints for your knee, for your ankle, for your shoulder, must be a specific word, I'm not sure, right? But they open up their global center over here. And Chery Automobile entering Malaysia with a number of investments, right? So this was some of the launches that happened this year, and this year is also a good year in terms of investment on many of these activities moving forward. Okay, and if you could see, the activities are quite deep in nature, which I will go through later. For example, the MAN. The MAN is hearing aid. Hearing aid. We are probably a bit more familiar with Cochlear. Cochlear is an Australian brand. This is from Denmark, the MAN, right? But this is not a center to do APARGL, transactional. Tak. Kan? This is center for them to focus on technology and innovation to improve the products. Maybe the ears of Asians are different than the ears from the Nordic country. Kan? How to fit, how to sound and so on. Also a lot of technology and innovation is done in this center. They've got a place in Mid Valley, right? Chery coming in very strong to bring in their cars, and soon they will do their own manufacturing with EV, and that's a drive by the country Malaysia as well to focus on EV manufacturing. Okay, now. This is going to be a little bit more detailed, and I think it also gives a perspective of what companies are doing. Right. Regional hubs are focusing on jobs in what we term as upstream and midstream. Yeah, upstream and midstream. Yeah. Imagine UPM as a company. Imagine UPM as a company. Whenever you want to expand to the world, right? For example, UPM expanding in Europe or in America, right? You will have a regional hub, right? One regional hub in London, maybe one regional hub in Chicago, maybe. Okay. Now, what does regional hub? What is the function of the regional hub? The regional hub is an arm to the headquarters for faster decision making, for faster access to the region, right? Because Malaysia is 8 hours ahead, 12 hours ahead of America. So that's where companies need these regional hubs. In a way, these are the control towers of the respective companies. Who sits in the control tower? Controllers lah. Right? What type of controllers? Controllers in management, in supply chain, in financial, in design, R&D, and so on. Right? So these are the controllers of the respective departments or business sections of a particular company. Okay? So that's why the jobs are upstream and midstream. Today, when Malaysia focuses on some of the activities in manufacturing, where are the jobs? Downstream lah kan? Betul? Downstream lah kan? Alright? A same function can be across. For example, logistics. Someone doing logistics in downstream is very different in terms of everything, capabilities, competencies, as well as scope, compared to someone doing logistics in upstream. Yeah? Someone doing logistics upstream would do procurement, would do tendering, would do supply chain, would do sourcing, would do a lot of activities in the upstream sector, right? And that's where the money is. That's where the money is, to attract people working in these activities, right? And so mainly, upstream and midstream are graduates, degree holders, masters, PhD, and so on. Yeah? And that's where we need to focus on this kind of activities, right? So imagine again, the headquarters. The headquarters of UPM is here. You have one branch in Bintulu, I imagine. Kan? So everything is here. All decision makers are here. We are decentralizing the decision makers to be in the respective regions. And in ASEAN ataupun Asia Pacific, we would want them to have their regional hubs in Kuala Lumpur. In Kuala Lumpur, right? What is unseen? The unseen is when a company comes into a region, into a country, they don't know the country. They don't know the people. They don't know the standards. They don't know the governance, right? But over time, what happens? The confidence goes up. Yeah, confidence in the talent, confidence in governance, confidence in the academia that's available, confidence in business landscape, and so on would go up. And when that goes up, if they have a next investment or project, who would they think of? The country where they are in, the country where they are familiar in, which is Malaysia, right? So that's the intent, to capture these decision makers, for them to be based in Greater Kuala Lumpur. All right, our competition is out there. We are not competing with Iskandar ke, with Eastern Corridor ke, with Northern Corridor ke. We have very good relations, right? Because of the coordination, as I mentioned. A company would want to set up a regional hub here in Greater KL, but when you think of manufacturing, that's where we look at fit for purpose, where they should go, right? The Northern Corridor is very strong in certain industries. Go there. Samalah juga Iskandar, samalah juga Eastern Corridor ataupun Rekorda and Sedia in Sarawak and Sabah, right? Again, ensuring coordination, because what do we want? What is what we don't want to happen? We don't want them to leave the country. Kan? Bila manufacturing, oh, I'll do it in Vietnam lah kot, I do it in Indonesia lah. No, there are potentials to also ensure that they set up somewhere else, where the ecosystem is supportive, and same time inclusive development for the country, to ensure that investments are going in the right pockets or areas. Okay, so these are some of the centers, and I mentioned some of the activities that's being done as well. Any questions so far? Okay, thank you, Prof, for the question. The answer can be a bit controversial. Also can be a bit controversial. Apa? Every country in the world wants Tesla, not because of the car, not because of the technology, because of the brand, right? Because of the brand, right? So we've seen everybody doing it, right? We have spoken to Tesla, but their dealings at the moment are with Prime Minister's office. We do not have much information about that. What we know is at the moment they are being allowed to bring in their cars for sales, right? These cars will be brought from their mega factory from Shanghai, to be brought over. Their intent is to set up a manufacturing in ASEAN. Where in ASEAN? Nobody knows just yet, right? Malaysia don't want to compete in volume, don't want to compete in space, but we are confident we can compete in ecosystem. Why? Because our automotive ecosystem is strong. Some are supplying to Tesla today, some are supplying to Thailand and any parts of the world, right? So we wanted them to localize some of their parts to be done by our local SMEs. For example, dashboard, for example, electronics, for example, steering, all the other things inside, right? So that was the intent, right? I think it's a smart move because we are 32 million population. We have this ecosystem. We cannot compete numbers, right? We cannot compete with Indonesia. The numbers will be big, right? In that perspective. Why I say we've got to be careful also is because Tesla is a company that would ask moon, star, sky from the country. Faham lah, kan? And ask for free. Di situ yang kita kena be a bit selective, kan? On social media orang buat assumption and bercakap macam pakar-pakar ekonomi, kan? Tapi there must be a reason why we don't want certain and things like that, because we are giving more than what we get, right? So that's where we have to be very careful when we bring investors and we work out and negotiate a deal, right? And Prof, for you to ask that, I would also like to take the opportunity. Among the multinationals that we brought in, 35% enjoy fiscal incentive. Only 35%. What about the other 65%? Because they like and they focus on ease of doing business. Ease of doing business. Not about fiscal, not about tax, not about grant daripada government. Tak relevant. Ease of doing business. I want to set up a company senang, I want to do this senang, I want to do that senang, right? Bukannya cut red tape, tetapi senang. Maksudnya kalau katalah satu minggu lah. Kalau kata sebulan lah. Ease of doing business. That's what they value the most. To bring in expat sebulan. That's what they value the most. And so it's very important in that respect. And people in the financial sector will also know sooner or later in 2025 Malaysia will also be joining the global minimum tax framework, right? Where companies will not, if companies are enjoying 0% tax somewhere, wherever they operate, they have to recover the tax in the country they are from. Yeah, so they will rather pay tax today rather than be charged tax in their country, US or Europe, right? So that's global minimum tax being pursued by OECD, an organization that focuses on equality, level playing field. Yeah, sebab 0% income tax or 0% corporate tax is raised to the bottom. Malaysia boleh buat, Vietnam boleh buat, Thailand boleh buat, Bangladesh boleh buat, semua orang boleh buat. Tetapi ease of doing business and ecosystem, not necessarily. Malaysia is here in ecosystem. Ada improvement, ada areas for improvement ke? Banyak, which we must continue to improve. Tetapi we know a lot of people are still behind us, right? So that's where the focus on attracting these investments, creating the jobs, and we are not putting money on the table. That's the most important part. Okay? Thank you. I'll give a little bit of perspectives quickly on some of the MNCs and what they do. This is a privately owned company, SC Johnson, based near Chicago, in fast-moving consumer goods. Okay, over 20 years, they have been having their Asia Pacific hub in Shanghai. In Shanghai, kan? Tetapi around 2015, they realized that the hub in Shanghai was just looking at China. They have forgotten completely about Southeast Asia. Forgotten completely, and they made that realization that they need to set up a strategic hub in ASEAN. So we were in competition with other locations, and Alhamdulillah, we won the competition in a way, right? To locate their hub in Greater Kuala Lumpur, and these are performing. This is supply chain hub and headquarters, right? Back in 2016, P&L management, procurement strategy, tendering, demand planning, forecasting, account management, capacity planning, sales and marketing strategy as well, right? SC Johnson owns contract manufacturers around ASEAN, right? Because they produce FMCG kan, detergent ke apa, those kind of things lah, right? So they do not have factory anymore. They do contract manufacturing, and these are the guys here managing all the contracts, right? In any of the factory around Asia Pacific, right? So that involves a lot of activities, right? Today there are about 250 people have been a good participant of our ecosystem and have been very active as well in terms of what they do. Alright. Apa SC Johnson buat ni? Some of the products are Mr. Muscle, Ritsack, Glades, baru faham. Okay. They are privately owned company. Kan? So the name is SC Johnson, but the products panjang lah. The list is very long. Alright. So it's very strategic, and they are expanding a lot more today. This is activities that they committed in 2016. Today they are doing a lot more. Because of, again, the confidence, they see that the talent is good, they see that they can expand, they see that ecosystem is great as well. So it's a good expansion story. Linde, alright, Linde is a gas company. Maybe pernah nampak kot dekat highway ke apa ke kan, Linde. Previously Malaysian Oxygen. Tahun 70-an apa kan. Tahun 70-an is Malaysian Oxygen. Kan? So the funny part is they make money from air, because they extract air, go into their cracker system and then all that, and they produce nitrogen, argon, oxygen, segala macam, right? And all this either goes to industrial ataupun goes into hospitality. Contohnya bila dia produce, you know better, a type of gas that goes into a soda, kan? Itu a soda kan, it would come from them. They produce oxygen that goes to hospitals ataupun hotels, it comes from them, right? They produce some gas kan, it comes from them as well. They have also a large complex in Pengerang that they have also set up. Alright. So across Malaysia, they have about 26 plants. Malaysia dengan Sabah Sarawak lah together, about 26 plants. Right. So I like this story very much because this is a story that was back in 2015. 2015. During that time, their activities are just local. All the regional people are in Singapore. Right? Then I would call him a local champion. The MD of Linde Malaysia time tu, Wong Siu Yap, Encik Wong Siu Yap, dia ni semangat Malaysia ni dahsyat sangat, hebat sangat. Dia kata, Malaysia too much potential and too many potential. Kenapa we are not fighting for a regional type activity in Greater Kuala Lumpur? Right? So we work with him closely to bid for a regional operation center, what they call as ROC, Regional Operation Center. All the while, Regional Operation Center ni, you imagine a room full of engineers, and each engineer is sitting in front of 6 screens, computer screens, right? They have visibility of all plants in Asia Pacific, and in Asia Pacific ada about 120 plants kot. Right? And these engineers would control everything, including, if needed, to shut down the plant. So what happens? Locally, they will have technicians. Tetapi engineers would sit together. The benefit of it is the engineers sitting together doing their job is fine. Tetapi it allows for a lot of discussion and collaboration, where this center have done so many other things beyond just operational. Yeah, they do plant design from here. The operation in Pakistan is different from Korea. Right? They learn from each other. Right? And things like that. Right? So, a little bit of the story too. We were in competition with 2 locations. Singapore, Manila, India and KL. Alright? 3 locations in competition. So, after all the information have been tabulated, we came up at number 3. Worst position lah. Right? And number 3. Right? Worst position. Right? So this is where the local champion ni penting ni kan. We've got to remember here, because the people that we're going to hire are all white collars engineers. Right? White collar engineers, as much as possible, don't want to be in India, don't want to be in Manila. Yeah? To them, the best livability is KL. Singapore is too expensive. It's KL, right? So they said to us, can you help us to reduce costs, right? Reduce some of the variables in here, right? So we made contact with the state of Selangor, where the plant will be, or where the center will be, and their request is simple. Boleh tak reduce sikit quit rent, cukai tanah, kan? Reduce sikit cukai pintu, right? Sikit je, kan? I think 5% good, 10% good. After reduction also, we will still be last. What is the message? The message is, I come to the government, I ask the government for some help, right? And the government responded positively. What do they take inside their mind? This is a pro-business government. This is a pro-business government. I like to work with this government, right? And yes, Alhamdulillah, about few years now, right? They are really happy. The center has so many engineers today, and many locals, Malaysians, and they are doing a fantastic job. If UPM is interested, Linde likes to showcase this thing. Right? We can arrange for a visit, right? They like to showcase this place because it's quite something, right? That they have expanded. Today, this is one of 3 locations. They have one in Europe, they have one in US. Yeah? The ones in Australia shut down, transferred to Malaysia. The ones in Korea, Japan semua shut down, transferred to Malaysia. Right? For complete control of this center in Greater Kuala Lumpur. There are many other companies like this, kan? Bukan Linde seorang saja yang produce this kind of products. There are other companies such as Air Products from US, CADe-Lead from France. Yeah? So many of it. But this is a lot to do with our commitment locally and wanting to create the right type of jobs. Okay, this one does not need any introduction. Very famous among the women. They have set up their regional hub in Greater Kuala Lumpur, a relocation from Singapore. Right? They started in Singapore, but they realized that they could not expand further because of many issues. Right? They started in 2016-17 at about 250,000 square foot space of warehouse. Today, 1 million square foot space. Right? Their best-selling product, as they term it, modest wear. Pakaian Muslimah lah. Yeah? Modest wear, working with SMEs and so on. But most importantly, everything in the background happens here in Greater Kuala Lumpur. Right? Their strategy, procurement, planning, their digital shots, their modeling, their sourcing are all happening here, run by Malaysians. Right? So it's a very important activity, and they continue to expand in Greater Kuala Lumpur, apart from their warehouse and so on. Right? So it's an important regional hub. Jivadan. If someone knows who this company is, then dahsyat lah. Usually people don't, because again, no fault. This is a company that specializes in fragrances ataupun taste. Fragrances ataupun taste. Contohnya, Pizza Hut is producing for the week tandoori chicken taste punya pizza, right? So these guys will develop it, right? Dior atau Estee Lauder wants to launch a particular product that fits the summer season. These guys will do it, right? So they are the guys. This is a Swiss company. They are the guys behind many of this, right? So they have set up their global business services here in Greater Kuala Lumpur, Bandar Utama. But 2 years ago, they acquired a local company. They have now a manufacturing plant in Melaka. Right? So that's important spillover as they have a lot more activities here. So in many of the slides, you could see that top of the reason why many companies want to be here is because we have competent talent. Competent talent. Setengah orang tak percaya, setengah orang kata betul ke, kan? But we have competent talent. We have seen for ourselves a lot of competent talent, either from public or private universities of higher learning. Now we have very good talent around that. Okay, and that has helped them to grow in confidence, strength, as well as investments along the way. Alright. Last would be Honeywell, a very familiar company, tapi nobody can really describe who they are. Diorang buat kipas kot, kan? But they do a lot of things, kan? Engineering, aerospace, today ESG, and power generation. So very diverse in terms of their activity. They have a factory in Penang focusing on avionics. So that's very specific. However, they felt something is missing. That the management team is everywhere, in China, in Singapore, and they felt detached with Malaysia, right? So they wanted to come in, set up a proper regional hub in Greater Kuala Lumpur. They are in Bangsa South, and they have prospered to grow a lot of the activities and to drive many of the activities. This is also an evolution, right? From the onset, their leader of the hub or the CEO of the hub has always been an expat, right? This year, a Malaysian have been appointed. A Malaysian have been appointed, and that goes same story for many of the regional hubs out there. They would have set up with a expat, but over time, a Malaysian will be appointed, right? How is that possible? When a company sets up a regional hub in Greater Kuala Lumpur, they hire a lot of Malaysians, right? Maybe 1 or 2 expats comes in. Selected Malaysians with potential will be exported overseas to work in that company in another locality. What does that do? Transfer of knowledge, competency, and so on and so on. Tapi sebenarnya satu benda je, building confidence. Malaysians kan a bit shy, kan? But when they go out there, they realise, I can stand shoulder to shoulder with anyone from US, Europe ke apa ke, and they come back as leader of the region, right? Today, Slumberger, Miss Amy Chua, a lady, is leading the Asia Pacific hub, from Ipoh, many years in Houston and so on, right? Another company, Arnott's, Mei Lim, came back from New Zealand to be the head of the regional hub for Asia Pacific, and many other Malaysians out there. They export this talent. This talent grow overseas, and they come back. They come back to lead the regional hubs, and that's something that's also very important, right? As part of the whole ecosystem moving forward. Okay. These are some of the ideas for collaboration, which I think is something that we would like to discuss in a bit more detail with universities, right? Depending on faculty, depending on needs. Because what InvestKL does is customize programs with MNCs. Again, going back to what we do. when we attract investors and we discuss with investors, I never stand in a seminar to talk to 200 potential investors. Never. Our discussions are all behind closed doors. Yeah, very private. Tak ada gambar, tak ada social media, tak ada. Yeah, very private because the discussions are sensitive, very sensitive to set up a regional hub, right? So, and in that sense also, the needs and wants of these companies are also very different, and that's why we would like to customize. As we know the academia better, as we know the industry better, we can bring both parties together to the table to explore certain activities. I'm happy to hear UPM is no stranger, have done a number of programs with InvestKR and with a number of MNCs, right? Maybe something that we wanted to also explore new is to speak to some MNCs and to host some of you, depending on faculty ke, apa ke, kan, in these MNCs, right? So that there is direct communication with these people. You can ask many questions that I cannot answer, right? And really understand what are they looking for. Yeah, what are they looking for, right? Why would an MNC want to do this? I will always use this analogy that many of these multinationals that we saw there, they were once small. They also come from small villages or cities ataupun towns, right? Bukan semua daripada London, Chicago, Munich, Stuttgart ke Chicago, New York ke tak. They come from small towns that we have never heard before. They grow with the town. In the town, most of the people in the town would probably work with the company. And how would the company want to expand? They would work with the academia in that town. University ke, polytechnic ke, sekolah ke, tak kisah, right? And that's the German system of TVET, right? Imagine a 16-year-old boy or girl would do an internship in a company, right? The particular machine of the company itu would be seconded to a university or polytechnic. So when that graduate comes out, they would be familiar with the machine, and straight away they can perform their job, right? So that's close integration, right? We have to challenge these MNCs to do the same in Malaysia. We have to challenge them because they want to grow with the community, right? Should also leverage on the word ESG. Where is your S? Where is your S? Right? Come and work with me on your S. Schools ke, polytechnics ke, doesn't matter, right? Challenge them to do this, to do all these activities because they want to grow and they want to be in a location for a long time, not today here, tomorrow somewhere else. No, they want to be a responsible business citizen of the country, and that's why we want to challenge and we want to see how we can probe those topics further. Okay, so this is something that I will keep open. We definitely have some examples, but we would definitely like to keep it open so that we can tailor some of the activities moving forward. Before I end, I must say this is my first time in UPM. I'm curious to see and curious to know. I'm quite glad that my jiran rumah sebelah tak ada kat sini. She said she's gonna attend kan, nasib baik right? General sentiment among our talent is no issues, and competency, no MNC have said our people are not competent, right? Capability, technical, whatsoever, never a question. Never a question. The area that's a bit lacking is, you will notice, soft skills. However, MNCs don't mind. They would have taken some of these young people ataupun graduates kan. I will put you into a soft skills program. Investment for the future. Teaching, learning, speaking in public, and so on kan. And that's probably where maybe we need to give a little bit more attention lah, kan, in terms of that, in terms of speaking about ideas, in terms of saying some of these things. But over time, when they hire someone, after 3 years, the person is not Malaysian anymore. Right? Maksudnya bercakap dengan confident. Bercakap dengan confident, right? And that's something that as a soft skills lah, that which I'm sure universities are aware. Many companies that come on campus will also say the same thing. We just as a country have to find a particular formula lah kot, kan? In that sense, kan? If people ask me what to do, I will always start with very basic. And my favorite basic book is How to Win Friends and Influence People. Senang sangat nak baca buku tu, kan? Tapi bila baca buku tu kan, banyak benda ni daripada hadis Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam yang kita lupa buat. Right? Very basic, right? Very basic in engaging, in networking, in being humble and so on, kan? And if we practice all these attributes and values, I think a lot can be improved upon, kan? Kalau tak student enroll, bagi buku tu free lah. Maybe something that UPM wants to consider, kan? But they have to keep it, they have to read cover to cover. Bukannya baca sinopsis ke apa, kan? Cover to cover, right? Because it's the simplest book to read. Because any company, that's something that I like to share. I hope I have given some ideas, topics, and also provoke some thoughts. I'm happy to share more insights wherever there are questions. Thank you.
Test. Testing. Thank you very much for your insights and shared stories of the success of Invest KL. So let me sort of share a little bit of notes that I have taken throughout the presentation. I think you have introduced us with the different spectrums, Dato', on the real-time scenarios, what is happening out there in terms of the investment, and a lot of terminologies being introduced in the industrial pathways. For example, the hidden champions, talent ecosystem development that is very much into our needs at the university level, and we very much values of your inputs pertaining to the data and statistics that you share with us, and we are very much proud of the graduates that we have nurtured so far in UPM. We were, thought that we were not producing a good graduate, but actually it's the story was different from the industrial experiences. So right, so we would like to take this opportunity to open up for a Q&A. If there is a question from the floors and from the YouTube, please go ahead, Prof. There is a microphone there. It's okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, Prof.
Okay, Dato', thank you very much for your insight of investor. I think it was a very fantastic presentation, very light, but the things impactful for me lah. Okay, first of all, I think we have been working together with Investor for many years. I think, but then the things that again, we need to expand our collaboration between UPM and also Investor. So just to share with you, we also have several programs that we are currently doing. So we call a program as a meet and greet programs. So we do invite. That's why we want to work out with Investor, so that because every time that we want to promote universities and whatnot, we like MNCs to come and we can present them what do we have in UPM, so that they understand the facility that we have, the opportunity that they have to work with UPM. So that's number one. In fact, currently also we are also working with a lot of chambers. So currently we are working with Japanese chambers, introducing Japanese companies, and then we're going to work with the German chambers and whatnot. So we also like Investor to be part of our co-chair of the programs. That's number one. Number two, also that talking about ESG, I think one of the university that promotes ESG and also considered as green metric, kita punya top of the ranking in Malaysia in terms of green metric, and a lot of ESG is UPM. So we do have the facility, and we do like to work a lot with companies, because we do have that what they call subject matter expert in terms of the overall SDGs, the ESG, the reporting and whatnot. In fact, we do have also working project for carbon credit and whatnot. I know that currently, if you look at Infineon, for example, one of the criteria they're looking in is country that have the new renewable energy, carbon credit things and whatnot. So that's why I think UPM can be compared to other university. UPM can be one of the university that the preferred university by the MSc. So just to share with you, tentu. Not the question, but something to share with you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Shamsul, for sharing current strategies and working with the MNCs and respective corporations out there. Is there any question from the floors? Okay. Kindly introduce yourself, where are you from? Thank you very much.
Sorry. Thank you. Hello. Good morning. I'm Normie. Nice to meet you, Dato'. Thank you very much for such insightful talk. It's a great talk where we could see things above the horizons from a bigger picture. My question is related to talent. Okay, the talent and the ecosystem, I think, is a very important factor in pushing a lot of visions and missions into fruitful, from the ideation itself to a physical entity to basically come to make it into realization. So throughout your years of experience, what would be the best measure, not only to retain talent, but to allow them to grow and thrive, to nurture talent basically? And what would be the best ecosystem in order to put forth those measures? Yeah, thank you very much.
Terima kasih, Puan. Very difficult question for me to answer. Very difficult question. Measures, huh? Okay. If I start with basics, companies are always sensitive with their retention rate, yeah, as a measure, right? What's the industry retention? What's their retention rate? Yeah, ataupun attrition rate, right? Now, this would then make the companies more creative to look at the ways that they want to retain talent, right? And they would look at all means, from a financial, from a community, social, as well as values of an organization. Today is certainly hybrid. Yeah, people expect to work from home at least once or twice a day or a week, right? So those are some of the things that they need to keep current, right? Over and above that also is companies are looking at that topic DEI, diversity, equality, inclusion, right? However, we need to define DEI to the Asian context. Yeah, to the Asian context. Sebabnya sensitif lah ni. DEI is LGBTQ to their context, right? So we need to redefine and re-educate them, right? Because we celebrate diversity, but our definition lah. Don't come in and force your definition to me, right? You come in here because you want to feel the culture and ambience here. You don't want to come here and see Western culture over here, right? So those kind of topics, right? And when it comes to a bit more things that are not measurable, or those social activities, right? Companies would have to look at how can they diversify their social initiatives. Right? Some people are keen more to sports, some are more to environment, some wants to work with orphanage and so on, and they would have to also diversify those activities in that scale, right? Then comes topics about environmental, right? Variables such as celebrating people that are taking public transport, right? Not encouraging people to drive on their own and so on. So companies have to be creative in what they do. However, from an academic standpoint, how to measure, I am not really familiar with that part of it. But it will be very different from company to company, how they attract and how they plan to retain talent. Not answering your question.
So talent mobility is high everywhere in the world because you know, in a globalized world, borders vanish basically. So yeah, training talents, nurturing them and retaining them, and having that ecosystem to sort of retain them, I think is something that we need to think about too, I guess. What's more, in a very digital world, a lot of businesses are moving into the digital mode of business. So basically they can be based anywhere. How do we sort of consolidate those talents to be here and also serve in a regional hub? So that is something that,
Let me add a little bit.
yeah,
Mode of working has multinational companies or any employer worried about few things. Number one, company culture. Number two, teamwork. Number three, spirit of collaboration. Right? So there are also conditions layered. For example, if you are below 3 months in a company, you must be in office every day. Right? And then only you can be able to convert into once a week and so on. Right? When I give advice to job seekers, fresh graduates, I ask them, please don't look for a job that you can work from home whole week, because you are not learning anything. As you graduate, you're moving into a working phase, right? And this is where one MNC shared me an embarrassing situation. They came into a meeting, the client is there, they were exchanging cards among themselves. First time jumpa physically. Right? So that was embarrassing. The CEO saw that, he was embarrassed and he went back and really changed it. Kan? Everybody be in office for certain days. Right? So again, the integration, the coffee talk, the chats here and there simply solves so many things. And you cannot deny that human contact. Yeah? So that's something that I'm happy to see many companies are going back to that mode, because of company culture and values. Every company has a value. People or generations they are looking for jobs today sometimes focus on values of the company. If they see good values, then they join. If not, they prefer not to join. But yes, this is a very, very large topic.
Thank you very much for your responses and insights. So there is another question back there. Please, ma'am.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Good morning, Dato'. I'm Fauzia Hanim from CAL, Center for the Advancement of Language Competence. I have only one question. I mean, you have shown us, like, open my eyes, yeah, that there are so many opportunities out there. Yeah, with all the big companies, major company coming in, and of course, they need to learn our culture, basically maybe learn the language as well, yeah, for them to be able to stay here, and also to expand their existing staff so that they're able to go abroad as well. Now, we provide more about 12 languages at our center. You have the experts. Yeah? Can you tell me, how do we penetrate this market? I think that's my question. I just want to know how to pay so that we are able to play a bigger role and be involved actively in all this, yeah, the opportunity that we have. It's very exciting, but we just do not know how. Thank you, Dato'.
Okay, thank you, Puan, for the question. Some MNCs work on their own to develop or to help the employees close the gap. They have their own academy, right? Some would then work with third parties. Yeah? One example of a US company, Cognizant, the center here today is supporting 14 languages. And the languages that they support are a surprise to us too. right? In terms of that. So I would see this as a willing buyer, willing seller. I would certainly like to know more about your center, so that we can make it a proposition when the time comes, right? Because I cannot promise anything, because as an agency, we have to be neutral, but we can say that this is an ecosystem player that's available. Kan? If I push UPM brand too hard, other people would not want to work with us, kan? But we have our ways lah. Yeah, we have our ways in a more private discussion. UPM have this, why don't you visit and so on, and try to build from there. Inshallah, boleh. Thank you.
Thank you for your spirits on assisting us to fly higher, Datuk. Inshallah, we will look into that matters seriously. Is there any question from the members from the YouTube channel? There is a question from members of the floors. Okay. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, Datuk. Thank you so much for your sharing. This morning is really like opening my eyes. And first of all, my name is Juju from Faculty of Agriculture, and the Secretariat Aduk Pandang. Datuk, because I'm quite active in engaging the students with communities, with industries, yeah. But you said we must improve our people's soft skills, right? We must improve our students' soft skill in this university. So how actually, what are the 3 top soft skills that we need to focus on? Because I'm quite active in doing these activities, but each of the activity I will rule out like, okay, this activity we will focus on the entrepreneur, and we focus on the teamwork and leadership. Okay, we focus on three soft skills. Okay, and another activity we focus on this another 3 soft skills. But which soft skills that I should focus to make sure that we prepare our students to face the outside world? Yeah, that's all.
Okay, terima kasih Puan for the question. There are students who are up there, right, with very confident communication skills and so on, right? If we and you are saying that UPM also has some specific programs to look at enhancing these skills, right? I think all that is well and good. Let's see beyond that to see how we can also explore further. I'm just going to relate back to our experience, right? We are very targeted in our approach, right? Whenever we have a meeting plan, we will do this word called homework. Not homework about the company. Homework about the audience. Who is the person we are meeting, right? And I think that's important, right? As apart from it being a icebreaker to the event or meeting, it also gives confidence, right? It also gives confidence. For example, saudara MC just now, he straight away said, I come from that university. So then when we were having coffee kat ni lah, dekat cafe tadi lah kan, so then the conversation becomes easier, right? That's something that probably the students want to focus on. Who would their audience be? To look at what are the backgrounds. That would then increase their confidence who they are engaging with, right? Sometimes people feel less confident because they think other people are more superior than them. In actual fact, sama je. We just have to be confident in delivering what we need to do the homework, basing on the audience, either one-to-one or in a larger group of audience, and from there practice, right? Practice, and activities in community and formal, informal are all very good. But the students must also to remember to do it themselves. UPM can only plan accordingly a formal program, right? But they should talk to everyone, to the security guard, to the cleaner lady, right, to the gardener, right, to continue to improve and not be selective in what they're doing. So probably I would focus a lot more on execution rather than what soft skill they have, because I think they have learned enough. They need to practice. Yeah, they need to practice. And let's say, for example, challenge themselves to be going to bigger events, right? I'm sure UPM will also receive some invitations to attend conference, kan? Contohnya baru-baru ni ada Selangor conference ke apa conference ke, kan? Before going, commit to yourself. I want to come back with 30 business cards. Commitment and discipline to yourself. Tak ada orang suruh, right? So you have to go around lah. Hello, my name is this and that. Who are you? Oh, you are doing this, you are doing that. Okay, I'll make my way. See you around. Kan? Jumpa orang lain. Kan? So they just have to force themselves in a situation to and commit to do that. So maybe I know a bit difficult. The execution part, that's probably where we have to impress a bit more, kan? To force them in that uncomfortable environment. Comfortable environment, relax lah, kan? Tak payah. Uncomfortable environment.
Thank you. So I would not be able to sleep tight tonight if I don't ask this question, Dato'. Well, how do you foresee the challenges of the new technology like AI and blockchain technology in shaping the perhaps looking at the attracting the investors coming in, and then how can you leverage perhaps your opinions on leveraging this technology in the university context, Dato'?
Very good. Before I address your question, that's also one of the questions being asked by future graduates, right? Will I have a job? Will something that I learn will be valid for the next 10 years? Keluar pula at least 10 jobs that will disappear in 20 years. Macam-macam lah, kan? All the conspiracy theory, right? So, my advice to them is forget about it. Focus on your fundamentals, focus on your competencies, build your soft skills, right? Now, how to embrace and adapt technology? Use the technology complementary to what you do. A boy in mass communication, kan? So dia kata, my job will be gone. What am I going to do? Kan? Ada ChatGPT, kan? So I said, use ChatGPT, but complementing you, because you have empathy, sympathy, values, segala macam, right? Segala macam that is non-existent in technology, kan? So put yourself above technology. Look at the situation or scenario and see how those things can complement you along the way, right? Because if we have those fears, people in the Western countries will also have the same fears, right? Many of you have also traveled and met your colleagues from Europe, from the US, kan? Look at where they come from. Kampung, kan? Kampung, right? So we are either we are advancing too fast, or we are thinking that technology will take over too many things, kan? We spend too much time on the mobile phone, kan? So probably a little bit of perspective lah, right? And to see how it can be complementary, right? If I relate to my team in strategic communication, right? So they were doing this, I have to go here, to go there, and they write my lectures or write my speeches. And I said, why don't you use ChatGPT? Dia orang kata, boleh ke? I say, why not? Right? Why not? Right? To produce something, maybe 50% big, and then to add some more of the details moving forward. Then you've got a good condensation of all these activities. Even some universities are debating to allow and things like that, kan? So we have to embrace and we have to rule over the technology. You mentioned many things, kan, about technology, kan, AI, ML, and so on, kan. So it's really to complement what we do, because humans are superior, kan.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. All right. So I think that will be the end of the Q&A session. I just want to share this information that this event, this iLead Cafe is a program that we organized, co-hosted with CADe-Lead and CERNET UPM in commemorating the Bulan Pendidik Universiti Putra Malaysia 2023. So we would like to extend our gratitudes and thankfulness to Invest KL, to Dato Azmi, Muhammad Azmi Zulkifli, and for that we would like to share a token of appreciation. We would like to invite our distinguished honors, Dato Muhammad Azmi, Prof Samsul and Dr Muhammad Zarat to come forward to the stage. Thank you very much. So we would like to thanks once again to Invest KL for accepting our invitation for this iLead Cafe this year, and would like to extend our gratitude as well to the audiences in the auditorium, in the Bilik Taklimat, and to the audiences in the YouTube channel. So stay tuned with us. We will be organizing another session of iLead Cafe in the near future, insyaAllah. So with then I ended up with wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and selamat Bulan Pendidik UPM. Terima kasih. Okay, we would like to capture a picture, so I would suggest that the audience just sit on the couch, and the rest of the members. Okay, all right, sure. Please come forward, guys. Thank you.
When you have free time, I can bring you to visit UPM.